Many of my colleagues who operated or who were MPs in the Galamsey areas lost their seats because they stood up against Galamsey.
Okay.
That is the blackmail. Now, if you're a city mayor in Accra, Kumasi, Takrady, and you insist that traders should get off the road, you or your party will lose the election.
Welcome back from the break. This is still the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. We're having an interesting conversation with the Member of Parliament for Bekwai, Honorable Joseph Osei Owusu. We're asking whether he'll go again. He's been in Parliament for 14 years. Has become literally a face of the 6th, 7th and 8th Parliament, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe he would retire and go back to, to the law profession. Honorable, what do we do? There's so much gloom when you speak about the dishonesty of people. How can we fix it? Can we ever turn it around? Many say you cannot expect the upbringing of the 60s to be same as now with the advent of the internet, with all the woke generation, like they say. The dynamics of parenting has changed. What do you think can be done to solve this integrity issue you talk about?
Okay, so parenting may not solve the problem, because if I am dishonest, that is what my children will see me do, and they will repeat it. They say children, they copy you more than listen to what you say. So, but we have a school system which every child, growing child, either goes through or ought to go through. Now, if we make it part of the training, I cited what they do in Japan or the Scandinavians. It's so simple. Instead of learning rhymes like, I went to London to see the Queen, a person who may never go to London. Instead of those rhymes, they should let them just copy the things that built their integrity. I've often shared the example of my kids, my first two kids now. One is a lawyer, one is an accountant. They've grown now. One of the things they learned at school is about the traffic light. I didn't learn that. When you see the traffic light, there is something you must know.
Yeah.
One afternoon, they came back home. I was then a busy young lawyer. I didn't have time to take them to school, so I had a taxi driver take them and brings them. Came back and said, today when we're coming back, the driver was driving through red lights. He said, ooh, so what did you do? He said, we started singing when you see the traffic light.
There is something you should do. Red means stop, yellow means get ready.
Exactly. So they had not learned to drive then. They were young.
But they could understand.
But that value had ingrained in their mind that the driver was doing the wrong thing. Today, I'm sure you'll never catch them doing that wrong thing, because right from nursery, they learned that rhyming has become part of their life. Look at the little things that we can do. I've been talking about copying, but copying this is good.
Yeah.
We lie a lot in this country. We lie about everything. We steal a lot. We are dishonest about everything. Probably it's time to start teaching children these things that are ingrained. In my view, I've been talking about these. I've been dreaming and thinking about these. Recently, the president called me and we discussed what I want to do. I said, all I want to do is to look at how we can reorientate young people to think more positively, to think intellectually, build their integrity
and value systems.
Value systems. We discussed a lot, but I think that if you don't do it nationwide, for me, it shouldn't be difficult at all to develop something simple within and let every schoolboy or schoolgirl just repeat it. I don't think it should be that difficult.
Okay.
Yesterday, the International Catholic Legislators Network was inaugurated here. And after that, we had a meeting with the Catholic Bishops' Conference, and they reminded us about the agreement they want to have with government so they can have their schools back.
Yeah.
We don't know how soon, but we will seriously advocating for that.
The mission schools get their schools back, have a big say in it.
It's just management of the schools back.
Okay.
There'll still be.
But that should be a good
schools.
thing. I mean,
yes, I don't really see why we changed it.
Yeah.
But for me, that should not be just the end. And is what values would they be?
Yeah.
Imputing into the school system, and that we should have a national one. Once, just as they have been able to suppress their differences, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Muslim groups, the Pentecostals, the Christian Council have all worked and agreed. It means that it shouldn't be difficult at all for them to sit and agree on common values, which every school system should be able to teach in a school as part of preparing young people.
You think the NCCA, I think they in charge of, public announcements, advert on television that shows the things we should do. These are things we should be doing. A collaboration
By
between.
the time you reach adolescent stage, it's impracticable to correct you unless you have such a huge penal system. But as I've said, when you have 90 people, the 10 people will not even be sufficient numbers to man the 90.
So we're looking at the next generation. Obviously, you think this generation is gone, so the next generation we should start.
I am not looking at 10 years. I'm looking about 20. When you start for people who are 4 or 5, by the time 20 years after, they will be taking over from. In 20 years, not many of us will be here.
Yeah.
Or even if we're here, we will not be in the public system.
Right.
So the new people coming into the system will have a new set of values which should be able to change.
Okay. Now that you speak about your conversation with the president, it's surprising you've never been a minister. Is it something that you decided to do, like you don't want to be a minister?
Oh, in 2017, I was truly hoping that I would be a minister.
Oh, really?
Yes. But then I was asked to become deputy speaker. I originally declined.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I declined. It took quite some pushing. And finally, some elders in my constituency were sitting with me when one of the senior parties had called trying to persuade me. So they heard the discussion, and then as soon as I put the phone down, they charged on me. My friend.
You have to go and take it.
Deputy Speaker, the man also on panel. Look, if you make we miss it at Bekwa, I will never forgive you.
Oh,
this
wow.
is not for you, it's for Bekwa people.
So you had to accept it.
Yes.
But which ministry were you looking at that time that you thought you would make a change there?
I thought that I would be at the Ministry of Transport. I thought. But frankly, ever since I started working Parliament, I realized that truly this is where I belong.
Okay.
So when we came the second term, somebody called, said, "Oh, we're thinking of you moving to this ministry." And I said, I want to be in Parliament.
Oh.
I want to be here because I think this is where I belong.
But you are now on the committee for roads and transport.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
The leadership said I should support constitutional and legal instead.
Okay.
I've always been in appointments committee,
privileges,
constitutional and legal, and
privileges,
roads and transport.
Roads and transport.
Privileges comes with position as a first deputy speaker.
Okay.
Appointments committee, I was in from day one as a backbencher, and then constitutional and legal, the same thing.
Okay.
And then roads and transport.
Okay.
Because I had come from DVLA.
Yes.
I had also been practically the lead person in minority discussing transport sector matters, whilst Honorable Oduro was doing the infrastructure part. transport infrastructure, that's road transport. I was doing the transport services part.
Okay.
And so that was where I was hoping, but I'm very happy here. It just sits with me, my orientation, my mindset. Parliament sits with me better.
What do you make of the, I mean, because you mentioned your desire for the road sector and the services sector, I for one, I can understand why we don't have a proper bus system. I feel it is very dehumanizing that we let our citizens board the trotro. We're in 2023. I mean, we go to the advanced country, there are buses. We do it for the Accra Kumasi, Accra Takrady. Why can't we do it in the cities?
I should be asking you why. The Metro Mass system was actually introduced by J. Kufu.
Yes.
For that purpose. Why did it fail?
But you're supposed to tell me.
No, I'm not supposed to tell you. You, the everyday Ghanaian, why did they choose the minibuses over that? And how come the bus lanes we created were never able to enforce them?
Honorable, you are the politician. I know you.
I work within a system. When we started it, we were so keen.
Yeah.
I was at DVLA.
Yeah.
When the Metro Mass, I actually was part of the delegation who went. I represented DVLA. I went with my tape to go and check that by law these things must be here.
Yeah.
I went with my road traffic regulations.
So you were a key part of it.
Yes. We went to China, the first one, the Yashin buses.
Yeah.
We went with Metro Mass engineer. We raised issues with their gear system, deep discussions, and made them change some of the engineering design. And then how we want the distances between the seats and things. But when the buses came, one, trotro drivers, the unions are strong and they have numbers, and they made sure they frustrated the system. You recall that there was times when, in fact, let me tell you an example. At that time, I was, when the Metro Mass came, I was a constituency chairman. Then my mother said, I was practicing in Kumasi, a lawyer. Then my mother said, oh, the union people came to look for you when I went to Bekwai. So I went to see them. I myself was a driver's mate.
You were?
My father was a union chairman. So I went to see them. Say, lawyer.
We'll explain your driver's mate.
I was talking about it on so many occasions. Say, lawyer. I buy Mobama and the buses being numna beguha, we free Juma.
But you have to employ them. You need to find a way to absorb them so that they don't feel like they are losing their jobs.
They are vehicle owners. They don't want to work on your. A lot of the time.
You just need to let them understand the benefits that would.
When it comes.
Change is difficult, Honorable. Like when people were doing space to space, the mobile phone came to disrupt their economy. When people were sending letters to the people, nobody sends letters. There will be disruptions.
Those
to your
decisions were not taken by the operators. They were taken by you, the user.
Okay.
Once you, the user, accepted to buy a mobile phone, there was no need to go to the kiosk to do face-to-space anymore.
Yeah.
What do you call them?
Ghana Post and.
That's right. Those things, Ghana Post. I used to write letters, go.
Buy stamps.
Now, why today who writes a letter? You send an email, instant. So the service, if there's differentiation which gives advantage to the user, he would naturally move towards it. Now, the bus system, the regulated bus system, was competing with the same space as the trotro driver. The trotro driver can be afford to be as indisciplined as he ought to. The Metro Mass driver could not. Secondly, if you go to countries where the public transport system is heavily utilized, they have strictly enforced rules. Bus lanes, no other vehicle uses it. We tried that from 37 to Legon. We marked bus lanes and things. You couldn't enforce them. I've already said that if you have 90 versus 10, The people we employ to enforce, well, they are part of the 90.
Then it wasn't Nkrumah wrong to say that a black man is capable of managing his own affairs, because it looks like we can't manage our own affairs.
Because you're comparing with somebody else's. That's one weakness we have. I've traveled around Africa a lot, and there are not many countries in Africa that is like Ghana. There are not many.
Okay.
But we are never satisfied because we don't compare with Africa, we in Ghana. We're always comparing with...
We have to compare with the best.
Exactly, but that comes with a huge cost, which we are not willing to pay. That's why we borrow so much. The first time I went to China, I was amazed. I thought everything was free. But from the airport to my hotel, we pay road tolls 4 times.
Yeah.
Within the city. Introduce road tolls in Accra.
You people
within the
abolished
city,
it.
and
You people abolished.
No, that is also even for the
The
highway.
motorways.
It was just for the highways within the city. From airport to the hotel within the city, we paid 4 times. You pay for what you want. Every service they provide, they take loans from their banks, but the people will pay for it. The difference is that we want the service, but we don't like the cost.
Oh, no, you know Ghanaians travel to Europe and will come to the exodus of Ghanaian professionals. When they go, they obey the rules because they can feel and see what their money is being used for.
No. The things were done with loans many years.
Okay.
So they are paying for it. You go and it is there.
Okay.
Right. But here, even what we have borrowed to do, we don't want to pay for it.
Okay.
America is 200 and something years old. They started building their roads in 17 something.
Yeah.
Right? They may have expanded some of them, but generally their highway systems and town systems were built. And then there's other part about spatial planning and discipline.
Yeah.
If you come to Bekwai, my municipal headquarters, it's one of the most well-planned towns in Ghana. Very well planned. But we have to fight to keep the spaces. Because every time somebody puts a kiosk there.
Yeah.
In fact,
the containers.
At one point, we were constructing a road. Somebody had put a bar within the road. A lawyer, and I had them did it, and I'm obeying every. Eventually, I had to pay her. Look, how much does it cost to do this affair? Take it because the public good of creating the road was far more than her kiosk.
Okay.
But how did he put it there? A local officer, a local government official, gave her permit to put it right in the middle of the road.
Yeah. When they know they shouldn't be doing that.
Exactly. These are the things I'm talking about.
Okay. Honorable, we'll be wrapping up shortly, but you described this parliament as the worst. That was when I watched it. I mean, the lack of collaboration, the chaos.
What I said was the worst in terms of legislation.
Okay.
The main work of parliament, we call it the legislator, making
Yes.
laws. So I said that if you count the number of laws we have made in the 2.5 years, it is the worst, even to date. After that, the Speaker himself has taken charge and we've passed about 5 or 6 new laws quickly. And the members themselves have realized that it was an indictment on us as a house. So the attitudes have changed. But it is still the least in terms of lawmaking.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, so that's okay.
But there's also our conduct. This is the worst I've seen.
But that starts from the very beginning of
Yes.
of this parliament.
Yeah,
The chaos
so that's
in
the
parliament.
worst I've seen. That's why I said that Ghanaians should judge from what we have done. If they choose to give the minority today more leadership, they should give them sufficient number of seats so they can work. If they intend to give them
You want an overwhelming majority?
Not necessarily overwhelming. I joined in the 5th parliament. In the 5th parliament, the difference was about 5 seats.
Okay.
The 6th parliament, it came to around 3 or 4 seats.
Okay, so it's always been close.
Yes. It is only the 7th parliament that was 69. And incidentally, that is where we had the highest number, over 100 bills were passed.
Was it because you were a rubber stamp?
What's the meaning of we do our work? We are rubber stamping who?
Because your government is in power, obviously you're not going to.
When it comes to those things, you realize that we are very, very accommodating.
Okay.
The critical part is what we call consideration. And if you have studied Parliament, when it comes to consideration, we tilt the mace. It means that we have lowered all the rules. So what requires that this man's must, you move somebody's must second, we don't require all that.
Okay.
And every little idea is discussed and voted upon. So it is the collaboration that we got. We don't run over them because you have numbers. Nice. No.
Okay.
But we know that even though we have numbers, we respect your fees. Sometimes you stop the work, go and sit down. Okay, these things you're asking, Honorable Minister, come. They think that they should be here. If we put it here, will it affect the end results? Oh, they will demonstrate how it will affect it. If we are satisfied, say, okay, can you rearrange? Then they may make new suggestions. As the minister may say, oh, okay, if we add this, it will not change anything. The end results will be. We do a lot of that. But of course, that is not in before the camera, so people don't get to know that. Right. That's the first time that even that collaboration is seen as selling out.
Okay, yeah.
That collaboration that has been part of the parliamentary process is seen as sellout. So then nobody talks to the other. This is what our side says. Yeah.
Okay. Honorable, what do you say to critics who say democracy has failed us as a country, that maybe democracy is not for us?
If you're talking about failure, it's we who have failed democracy.
We have failed democracy?
Yes. Our lack of values, our unwillingness to make the sacrifices that are necessary to make democracy work, our dishonesty. That is failing democracy. It's not the other way around. Okay. You see, in the countries where democracy works, they developed a certain value system. Tolerance. We disagree, but I respect your view.
Yeah.
The minority respects the majority respects the minority. The only thing is that even though you have the majority, I'm free to make all my arguments to show that if I were in power, I would have done it differently. Mm-hmm. That is what democracy is about. Okay? But today, if I don't agree with you, then I won't let you do it. I'll disrupt the proceedings. Now, that is where we fail democracy. Mm-hmm. Then, dishonesty. Democracy says people are leaving their trust with you. Mm-hmm. They're giving you their money. They're trusting you.
Yes.
Right. But unfortunately, whatever you do, you depend on different sets of people along the line to the very end. If you're not careful, you cry. Some of the things we experience, if we share head, people will run over other people. So we try to manage it. But it is not politicians. Okay. You send something to a community. On paper, they say we have supplied 360 bags of cement to the community. You go, the community says, no, lawyer, there's only 100 bags that came here.
Somebody's kidnapped some of it on their way.
They didn't even buy it. And it is all across. Those things are not done by politicians.
The politicians must lead the way.
Like I am not by law permitted to be part. That's why you don't get it. The politician is not permitted to be part of the administration of funds.
You see, it's the understanding of the ordinary Ghanaian. So a Ghanaian sees a politician they were in the same school with, they were struggling. Politician comes to power, and in the next 4 years, they've acquired a lot of assets.
Have they acquired anything? It's only the vehicle that we buy by loans that you talk about.
But Honorable,
I tell you, from my experience here, 90% of politicians who live here, who were not professionals, become vagabonds. They keep coming back to ask for support. They can't even afford medical fees. If you had acquired something, would they come back here? this work, anything that holds you, that you hold, it's not for you. You share every day till the day you leave Parliament. You share everything you have. So any money that comes to you, you're just a conduit for the people who brought you here. The day you stop, that day you leave Parliament.
Wow, that's scary.
It's not scary, but that's the reality. Everything about your constituents, you will pay for it. If banking records were not private, I could ask you to look at just down here, NIB, the amount of loans members have taken from here and what they used it for.
Wow.
It is just that vehicle. And then people assume that any money is given to you in person, like they say, oh, common fund. Somebody interviewed me from US and say, oh, but you have taken all the common funds. That's not true.
Yeah.
We don't touch it. Even the 5% that says MP's share, you don't take part in the disbursement. You only instruct the DC, do this for this community.
Yeah.
Pay from my share of the common fund. That's all.
Okay.
But you don't spend that money.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, I think you mentioned NCCA.
Yeah.
I just said, you give people a job, you give them the resources to do their job. We pay people, they have no operational money.
you guys do the appropriation, no?
Yes, we
So
do
you
the
have to give them.
appropriation from what is available.
Okay.
If the money were there, what would you do with it?
You are not expanding the tax net, so I mean that's for you to do.
How do I expand the tax?
You're taxing the same people and burdening the same people.
How many people are in the public service? I mean, the paid system.
Yeah, so in the informal sector, we need to find a way to collect the taxes from the informal
Yes,
sector.
we need to find a way. The way. Come back to how honest we are. The laws are clear. Sometimes, frankly, I wonder why we design laws as if Ghanaians are English people, the accounting systems and things like that. Frankly, because those are designed based on a mindset of people who are honest, who will declare. But we know our people. You see, there's something that are cultural. Growing up, I saw it. I never heard people say I have money. Even if the money is under his bed, they say, "Me kope bisia bro."
Okay.
We never accept that we have money. The traders, the amount of money they have in their rooms, you have no idea. I'm telling you. As I said that one of my bankers told me that, lawyer, I've gone to see some money in some woman's room. Says a house. So under her staircase, it's created something. Said pounds sterling, dollars, euro. Bring the money to the bank. Said, and I'll probably pay me sick. I could drive around with like, you're coming to bluff me when so she keeps her money in her house. Says, well, my fear is that this woman may die, her children may not even know that she has this money here. Right? And then, with discussing this, the Honorable Muntaka said, she has also been showed such money by her Hajia. Says they were building their new shops, and one of the assassins said, I should give her the thing to build. So he laughed. He said, Hajia, it's not small money as we are talking about here. He said, Honorable, but do you think I'm also talking about small money? Come. Then he took it to a room. So, just look at the amount of money I saw there. It's no joke. The money in the banking system is the petty, small ones. But the major traders going back and forth, no. They don't have time to be signing papers. As I sit here, I'm traveling. I want my own little money. The amount of paperwork I have to go through.
So the bureaucracy is also part of
the banking system.
Yeah.
So the rules that we're operating from, it's way too rigid in many instances than our very informal way of living.
Yeah.
We are very, very informal in so many ways. In fact, I'm talking about even myself. Sometimes I wonder, I've been trying to register my social center, Bekwai, and I look at, I start midway, I stop because the questions and things I have to go and look for. I don't want to give it to somebody else. I thought I'm a lawyer, I'm a legislator, so I know. But the rules are quite difficult. Do you have this? You have that? Many of them I've not even thought about them. But the rules we craft often don't sit well with our informal way of doing things, okay? So it makes it difficult for even people to properly account for money they have. That is why indirect tax system is what is working for us. And that also leads to a rise of costs of things and so on.
Okay. We've run out of time. We know you're busy. But the last thing I want to ask you is, have you declared your stance in the MPP election?
Long ago, about a year and a half ago, I'm not contesting again.
Not you, those who are contesting for the presidential
seat. I gave an interview and I said I support Baumia.
You do?
Long ago.
Okay.
I'm a straightforward person where I belong.
Okay. Do you think that there will not be fragmentation after all of the risk of people thinking there will be a breakaway, people
Why
going
should anybody think that way? In that case, then democracy will fail.
Okay.
Because democracy necessarily involves choices between different candidates.
Okay.
At that point, people call it division. I don't see that hard as division.
Okay.
It is preferences, choices. Only one person will be elected in the end, but it is open to everybody else. That is why it is programmed. Except that by nature, we still think very much like chieftaincy, of chieftains. So if you're not for me, you're against me. In a democracy, it should not be like that.
Okay.
They are brothers, but you prefer one to the other. It doesn't mean you're against the other.
Okay. All right. Do you think you're going to win the next election, the MPP?
I believe so.
You think so? With the way the economy is going?
Well, have you had any alternative?
Maybe we just need a new face
to
attempt.
Face per se. Why? Face per se, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
We want to see an alternative.
Maybe just to show that we are not happy with the way things have gone, especially in the last 4 years.
If that's how you want to decide, I doubt whether many people. You look at what is it that I'm getting.
Okay.
If I'm not satisfied with this, what is the next person offering?
You are the ones who are part of those who say the alternative is scary.
I haven't said anything. I've not heard any alternative.
Okay.
So whether it's scary or I can't say, but I've not heard any. Okay. Only I've heard is criticism of. And you see, if you're using the current minority as the alternative, the only thing you can get to compare is their performance in the past. What really is new in our governance system is the social interventions. Okay. In the last 8 years before Akufo-Addo government, no new interventions. Their own members started criticizing. You're not bringing anything new. You're only tinkering with what you give. So when you have no ideas, it comes with cost and it comes with sometimes.
Welcome back from the break. This is still the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. My guest is Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji. I don't know if he still practices, but he's been a doctor for the best part of 3 decades now. Doc, do you still practice?
It depends on what you define as practice. I think what I'm doing is also practice.
But
so.
you go to the...
No.
Don't you miss it?
Well, I think I had enough of that. So.
Oh, really?
I'm moving to a different stage, and this is also practice. Public health is practice, management is practice, health management practice. So it's still part of the practice. And I think
when there are strikes and things, all the retired doctors and everybody seem to be called upon to come to the hospital to help, to chip in. Have you had a case like that?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, I've not retired yet, so I've not had to be called, but I've been to monitoring in a region for some work, and because of emergency, I'm called from my hotel to come and assist, and I go and operate and come back and sleep.
So Doc, the next leg of our conversation has to do with people who have accidents that will have their organs and all of that.
That cost will be borne by anybody who is
they have consented, if there's law, they've consented. How do we know this person has consented? Is there going to be a database? How do you know that this person has consent?
Well, because we haven't done it here, but the other practices is that there's a database, and in countries where they know a bit about everybody, maybe Ghana now, if they pick your Ghana card, they may know that you are somebody who has consented before, and then they can see what they can do about it. So I think the database is important. Now that we are having this national ID card, which puts all our in one particular place, you should be able to use that to see whether this is somebody who has consented to donate. And they usually have a little slip that either goes with them or in their wallet or something. So I believe that that could still be made available.
So organ transplant or transplantation is not only limited to kidney. We have cornea, like you mentioned, pancreas, liver, and all. But it would appear in Ghana we know of a lot more people who have organ kidney failure, and how they have to go through dialysis and how expensive it is. There have been calls that we should meet these people. Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you for your time. This has been another edition of the Lowdown here on GhanaWeb TV. We've been interacting with the MP for Bekwai. If you like, call him a career politician. 14 years in Parliament. Oh, but hopefully, maybe go again. He's been in Parliament from the 5th. Not contesting again. Okay.
I think it's a major problem that sometimes.
So that's it.
Because of the lack of.
Joseph will say we call him Joe Wise. Thank you very much, Honorable, for your time. We're grateful. We're back
by the time such people even give up, they eventually lost all their property.
And continue watching
GhanaWeb
TV.
Spend so much.